Okay, as I mentioned in the previous session, there are two types of flow control statements, branching and looping. In this session, I will explain about looping. So what is looping? Okay, suppose if I want to repeat same block of code, that means it can be a single statement or set of statements. If I want to repeat that block of code multiple times and sometimes maybe with the different parameters or values, okay, in that case these looping statements are very useful. Snowflake scripting supports four types of loops, okay, for loop, while loop, repeat loop and loop. Okay, let's discuss about all four loops. So first one is for loop. Okay, a for loop repeats a sequence of steps for a specified number of times, or for it will process for each row in a cursor or in a result set. Okay, so don't confuse what is meant by cursor or in a result set. In the next sessions, I will explain about cursors and result set. Suppose if I have a requirement, if I want to repeat a block of code this particular number of times, okay, in that go we go for loop. Otherwise, there is a result set or there is a table. If I want to do row by row processing, that means I want to process row by row in the table or in a view. In that case also, these for loops are useful. That we'll discuss in the next sessions. Okay. Okay. So there are two types of for loops. Counter based for loop that repeats a specific number of times. Cursor based for loop, that means that repeats for each row in the cursor or in the result set. Okay, so I will explain only this part in this session, and in the later sessions I will explain this part when I explain about cursors and result set. Okay, so this is the syntax of for loop. Counter based for loop. So for this is the syntax for counter. That means if you have some idea on C language or any other programming language, you say, right, for I equals to 1 to for I equals to 1 to 10, like that. So that I is this counter, which increments or repeats based on this value. Okay, for counter in start value to end value. That means if I want to repeat for 10 times, then I have to say for I in 1 to 10. So do, okay, this is the syntax for, okay, the number of repetitions, do, okay, list of statements to be executed, and you have to always close with end for. So how do you close this for loop? By using end for. Okay, so this is the syntax for I in 1 to 10, for I in 1 to 5, like that. If you want to repeat any block of statements, okay, for particular number of times, specified number of times, then we go for this counter based for loop. Okay, second one is cursor based for loop. So what is the syntax? Same like that. Here simply there will be no to value. So suppose I have a cursor and I have some 100 rows in this table. What I am saying, for row in cursor name, if there are 100 rows in this cursor, this loop will be executed 100 times. If there are 1000 rows in this cursor, then it will be executed 1000 times. Like that, it will do row by row processing. Okay, so I'll explain this clearly in the later sessions, don't worry. Okay, this is about for loop. So just remember only one thing: if you need to process, okay, any, or if you want to execute any list of statements for for a specified number of times, like 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, we go for this for loop. Okay, so the next one is while loop. So this also repeats a set of statements, but based on some condition, not a specific number of times, but based on the condition. That means it will repeat a list of statements until this condition is true. Okay, so if you see the definition of while loop, a while loop iterates a sequence of steps until the specified condition is true. When the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Okay, so every time it will execute this condition. Okay, so whenever this condition is false, then it will come out of this loop. Okay, until this condition is true, it will be executing this set of statements multiple times as well. Okay, so if the condition is false before the first iteration, then the body of the loop does not execute even once. Suppose in our stored procedure, the control came to this while loop. and it is checking this condition. So if this condition is true for the first time itself, then it will not execute this while loop. It will directly come out of this. So hope you understood. Okay, a while loop iterates a list of statements until the condition is true. Okay, so this is while loop. You will better understand while I explain the same with examples. Okay, so the repeat is opposite to this while loop. So what it will do? So a repeat loop iterates a sequence of steps until the specified condition is true. When the condition is false, it exits from the loop. So here if you see the syntax, the definition is same, while loop and repeat loop, but how it works is different. So in repeat loop, we check the condition at the end. Okay, so this is the syntax: repeat list of statements until the condition, okay, end repeat. Okay, this is the syntax. So here what we are doing, we are checking the conditions after evaluating the statements. That means here if you see the difference between while loop and for loop. So while loop, here the condition will be tested after executing. So in the repeat loop, the condition will be tested after executing the body of the loop. So the body will be executed at least one time. So you have to understand the only basic difference between while loop and for loop, while loop and repeat loop. In while loop, the conditions will be tested first, and based on the condition result, this list of statements will be executed. But here, after the statements executed for the first time, it will validate the conditions. That means here there is a chance that at least one time the list of statements will be executed. So that is the time you have to use this repeat loop. Okay, so here if the condition is false for the first time, then it will not execute at least one time these statements, right? But unlike while loop, here even though the condition is false for the first time, the body of the loop will be executed at least one time. Okay, so that's the difference between while loop and repeat loop. Okay, okay, the last one is loop. Okay, a loop executes a sequence of steps until it encounters a break command. Okay, so there will be no conditions here, no specific number of times. Okay, there is no condition. It will be simply executing. But when this will come out of the loop, so if it will be executing multiple times, like infinity number of times, then the procedure will not be completed at all, right? So there should be a breakpoint where the control will come out of this loop. Okay, so that is break. So what is this break? These break commands mostly will be part of if conditions. When particular condition is true, then applies the break command. So here in this list of statements, so we'll be evaluating some conditions as well. If, else, like that. Okay, so when we have something like if a equals to 1 or if flag equals to 1, then come out of this loop. So how can you say come out of loop? By using this break statement. If flag equals to 1, break. That means while executing this list of statements, if there is a variable flag and if the value of the flag is 1, okay, then come out of this loop. Okay, so hope you understood. The loop, it will repeat a list of statements multiple number of times until it encounters a break statement. So here we are specifying the condition by using if. If a condition is true, then come out of this loop. If the condition is false, then repeat the loop, like that. Okay, so this break is very important. In real time, we use very frequently in the loops. Okay, to come out of the loop. We can use even in the while loop and for loop also these breaks. Okay, so this is about loops. So we have discussed about four loops, right? For loop, while loop, repeat loop, and loop. Okay, so the main aim of this all four loops is to repeat some block of code multiple number of times. Okay, so if you see some examples, you will better understand. Okay, let me go through some basic examples. Okay, very commonly used loops are for loop and while loop. Let's see the same with small examples. Okay, I have the code here. I'm copying it and pasting it in Snowflake editor. Okay, let's see the examples. Okay, so my first requirement is print the stars in a triangle shape. So if you have gone through C language, right, this is very basic program where we implement this by using for loops, right? So I want to print stars in a triangle shape like this. Okay, so let's see one small example for that by using for loop. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm writing a execute immediate block. I'm declaring two variables I and integer, I and j of integer type, and a pattern of varchar type, and the default is empty value. Okay, empty. Okay, so what I'm doing here, so begin for I in 1 to n. That means I want to print a triangle with a maximum of 5 stars. Okay, for I in 1 to 5. So what this means, so take a variable I, so it will go through when the value is 1 and when the value is 2, 3 till 5. Okay, so this that means this loop will run for 5 times. So whenever you encounter these kind of statements, you have to understand for I in 1 to 5, that means I will be like it will run for 5 times. First time with the value I equals to 1, second time with the value I equals to 2, so third time I equals to 3, fourth time I equals to 4, and fifth time I equals to 5. So this loop will be repeated for 5 times. Do. Okay, so for do, so this is the syntax of for loop, right? So again inner loop I am running one more for loop in the inside, so we call this part as inner loop. Okay, so what I am saying here, for j in 1 to I, that means j is also integer type, j in 1. Okay, that means so start with 1, it will this loop will be start with j equals to 1, and it will be repeated to I. So that means for the first time I equals to 1, so what will do, this loop will be repeated one time. So second time I equals to 2, so this loop will be repeated j equals to 1 and j equals to 2. So last time, so I equals to 5, right? The last value of this repetition is I equals to 5. So that time this loop also will be repeated 1 to 5. Okay, so what I'm saying, what I'm doing, when executing this inner loop, I am printing. So I'm saying pattern equals to pattern. Okay, so what is our default value of pattern? So empty space. So concatenate with 1 star. So for the first time, it will concatenate 1 star. Okay, so hope you are understanding. So when j in 1 to 1, so it will concatenate only 1 star. Next time, so when the loop will be repeated, so next time j equals to 2, so I equals to 2 here. So what this will do, it will do concatenation of stars 2 times. Okay, because j in 1 to I, that means 2 times it will repeat, so it will print 2 stars. So in the first line, okay, so because where we are changing the lines, so once this inner part is completed, so I am appending one new line. So slash n is the new line character. That means after repeating for one time this loop, you print a uh, you concatenate a new line character. That means the control will go to the next line. So for the first, in the first line, when this loop will be repeated only one time for the first time, right? So it will print only 1 star in the first repetition, and the next repetition will be I equals to 2. That means this loop will run for 2 times. So in the next line, it will print 2 stars. Like that it will repeat till I equals to 5. That means so the last time it will print 5 stars. So how the shape will be, in the first line 1 star, in the second line it is 2 stars, 3 stars, till 5 stars it will concatenate. Okay, so finally I am returning this pattern of stars. So let's execute this, how you can easily understand. Oh, something is wrong here. Let me see. Okay, so here if you see the result, it looks like this. So it cannot form a triangle here. But if you see here, okay, you can see the proper triangle. In the first line, when I equals to 1, so j also will be 1. So it is printing only 1 star. In the second repetition, I equals to 2. So this loop will be repeated, the inner loop will be repeated 2 times. So it is printing 2 stars. Like that. So this is, we are making use of inner loop and outer loop. So for each I value, the j loop will be repeated I times. Hope you are understanding. When I is 1, this inner loop will be repeated once. When I is 2, this inner loop will be repeated twice. Like that. Okay. So hope you understood. This is very important. So in real time, we use for loop and while loop so many times. So you have to understand the concept, how the for loop and while loop is useful. Okay, and how it works internally. So for loop, where we use, if we want to repeat some block of code for particular number of times, then we go for loop. Otherwise, if I want to repeat some block of code until a condition is true, that means whenever the condition is false, you come out of the loop. But until the condition is true, if I want to repeat some block of code or some set of statements, in that case we have to use while loop. Okay, so hope you understood the for loop. Let's see the while loop now. Okay, so here my requirement is find prime numbers up to a given number. Okay, so suppose if I, this is my stored procedure while prime numbers. Okay, so this is demo of while loop, right? And my requirement is to print the prime numbers till a given number. Suppose if I pass 100 here, so I want to print all the prime numbers till 100. If I pass 500 here, okay, so I want to print all the prime numbers till 500. Okay, so this is my requirement. First of all, you should know what is a prime number. Okay, so this is a basic mathematics. Okay, so if any number is divisible by one and the same number, okay, that is called prime number. If any number is divisible by only one and that same number, then that number is called, okay, prime number. If it is divisible by any other numbers, then it's not a prime number. Okay, so this is a basic mathematics. So you know, right? So 2 is a default prime number. Okay, 3 is also a prime number. So but 4 is divisible by 2. So okay, let me clarify. So if you have still doubts, okay. Suppose take a number 10, okay. So 10 is divisible by 1, you know. 10 is divisible by 2, okay. So it is divisible by 2, right? This is not a prime number. So a number is a prime number if it is divisible by 1 and that same number. So 10. So when a given number is divisible by 1 and the same number, only one and same number, then that number is called prime number. Okay. Suppose you take 12. Okay. 12. So here 10 is not a prime number because it is divisible by 2 also. Okay. Take 11. But 11 is divisible by only 1 and 11. Right. So 11 is a prime number. So 10 is not a prime number because it is divisible by 1, 2, 5 and 10. Okay. So this is not a prime number. So hope you understood what is a prime number. I am saying again, if any number is divisible by only one and the same number, then that is called a prime number. So here my requirement is to print all the numbers, okay, till 100 or till a given number. I want to print all the prime numbers till a given number. Okay, this is my requirement. So I am creating a procedure for this. But how to find out? How to write the logic for this? Okay, so here I am creating a procedure by using SQL language. I am writing the code because we are going through Snowflake scripting. Okay, so I am declaring some variables I, integer, and the default value of I is 3, j of integer type, flag is also integer type, and prime. So this is of varchar type, and the default value is 2 and a space. Okay, let's see why we are defining like this. Okay, so here my first condition, I am using while loop here. So what we do in the while loop? Okay, while until a condition is true, okay, repeat these steps. Okay, and we close the while loop by using end while. So until this condition is true, repeat these statements. Okay, so what is my condition here? While I less than or equals to n, because I want to print all the prime numbers till n. So while I less than or equals to n, so I am defining a flag. Okay, flag equals to 0. So my initial value of flag equals to 0. Okay, what I am saying here, for, okay, j in 2. Okay, start a variable j with the value 2 and repeat these statements until I minus 1. Okay, so what is our I here? So this is it is starting with 3. Okay, because we are initiating we are assigning default value of 3. Okay, 3 while I less than or equals to n. That means I equals to 3 to whatever the number we supply here. Okay, suppose we are supplying 100 here. So 3, so for the first time, 3 less than or equals to 100. So the condition is true. So the control will go here. Now for j in 2 to I minus 1. So why I am writing this condition? So we have to apply the division, right? So why j into I minus 1? So let's come back to our example. So what I'm saying, j in 2 to I minus 1. Now here, suppose our I equals to, okay, 11, suppose consider. So now I have to check this 11 is divisible by all the numbers 2 to 10, right? 2 to here I minus 1 is 10. So if this number is divisible by any of these numbers, okay, then this is not a prime number. So the loop will run from 2 to 10. So first it will check 11 by 2 is equals to 0. No. Then 11 by 3 equals to 0. No. 11 by 4 equals to 0. No. 11 by 10 equals to 0. No. So why we are checking 2 to 10? I told you, right? So if any number is divisible by only one and the same number, okay, so we have to check what is in between 1 and 11. So how to check? So after 1 it is 2. So before 11 it is 10. So we have to check 2 to 10. If any number is divisible by 2 to I minus 1, okay, so then that number is not called a prime number. So I am just making sure that for j in 2 to I minus 1, okay, repeat these steps. What I'm saying here, if I divided by j equals to 0, so for the first time I is 3. Okay, so here in this loop will be executed where I equals to 3. So j into 3 divided by 2 equals to 0. No. So so if it is divisible by 0, I am incrementing the flag to 1. Okay, or I am setting the flag as 1. Okay, when I divisible by j equals to 0, then only set it. That means if the given number or if this I is divisible by any of these numbers, change the flag to 1. Okay, suppose this I is not divisible by any of these numbers 2 to I minus 1, then the flag will not be updated. That means the flag will still contain 0. That means if the flag is still 0, then that is a prime number. Suppose if the I is divisible by successfully divisible by any of these values, then the flag will be updated 1. Suppose let's take 10 here. Okay, I equals to 10. I will be evaluated from 3 to and the given number. When it comes to 10, I equals to 10. Okay, what will do? I right? I 10 by, so j. What is j? 2 to I minus 1. So first value will be 2. 10 divided by 2 equals to 0. That condition is true. So the flag will be updated to 1. So it will come out. So it will come out of the loop, because when this condition is successful, I am saying break. So whenever this condition is successful for the first time, suppose 10 divided by 2 equals to 0. So for the first time itself, the condition is true. then no need to evaluate for all this I minus 1. That means j equals to 2, 3, 4 like that till j equals to 9. No need to evaluate this condition. So whenever this condition is for the true for the first time, that means it is not a prime number. So update a flag equals to 1 and come out of this loop. I already explained, right, where we use break. So if, based on some condition, if we want to come out of the loop, okay, we use break statement. Okay, so this will come out of this inner loop. Okay, so if flag equals to 0, that means if it is not divisible by any of these numbers, then set prime equals to prime concatenate comma comma I. So what is the default number of prime here? 2. So 2 concatenated by comma. So for the first time 3 it will come. Okay, so the next prime number will come. So 2 comma 3 comma 4 is not a prime number. Again 5 is a prime number. So it will print like 2 comma 3 comma 5. It will concatenate all the prime numbers till I less than or equals to n. It will check till I less than or equals to n. That means till a given number. Okay, so hope you understood. So what is I here? It starts from 3 to given number. It will be evaluated by this inner loop. Okay, so suppose for the first time I equals to 3. Okay, so we have evaluated. So we have decided 3 is a prime number. Next, we have to evaluate the same set of conditions for I equals to 4. So that means we have to increment the value of I. So that we are doing at the end. Okay, I equals to I plus 1. That means I will become 4. Again this loop will be repeated. Then I will be incremented. I equals to I plus 1. So when the till at what point of time this will be incremented? Till I less than or equals to n. Suppose I became 100 finally. Okay, so this will be executed and I will be I equals to I plus 1, 100 plus 1. Then this condition will be evaluated. I, okay, 101 less than or equals to n is our 100, whatever we are passing. So the condition is false. So when the condition is false, then it will not execute this. So it will end the while loop and it will return the value. Okay, so we are incrementing the value of I each and every time and validating this condition I less than or equals to n. So when this condition is true, then only repeat the list of statements, otherwise the loop will be ended. Okay, so hope you understood. In the single example, I am showing you the while loop, okay, for loop and break statement, everything. Okay, so I loop, so for loop, what it will do? It will repeat for particular number of times. But while loop, it will repeat until a condition is true. Okay. Hope you understood the difference. These are very important. You have to use multiple times in the real-time stored procedures. So if you are not able to understand, watch twice or thrice, or uh, take multiple examples from Google and practice it. Okay. So let's create this procedure. Okay, the procedure is created. Now I want to print the list of prime numbers till 100. Okay, so let's execute this. It is printing like this: 2, 3, 5, 7. Okay, till 97, till 100. So list of the prime numbers it is printing. Okay, suppose you can give any number. Suppose if I want to print all the prime numbers till 300. Okay, so you can print like this. So we don't print in real time like this. Okay, so hope you understood how it works. These are very important, I am saying again. Okay, so the next example is find the prime numbers up to a given number in the form of a table. So here I am printing just in the form of a varchar, but suppose if I want to print the if I want to load all these prime numbers into a table. Okay, so how to do? So we have to write the same program again. So here instead of here what we are doing, we are concatenating all the prime numbers into a varchar. Instead of this statement, what I am doing, I am instead of this concatenation into a varchar, I am inserting into a table. Okay, insert into prime number values of I. That means whenever I is a prime number, it will be inserted into this prime numbers table. So no need to define this table because we are creating a tabular stored procedure, not a scalar. That means the output of this stored procedure will be a table format. Okay, so here also you can see return table of result. Okay, so I am preparing one execute immediate block here to print whatever the prime numbers we have inserted into this table. So this is a temporary table, like a table kind of object. We are inserting all the prime numbers into this, and I am writing a statement select star from prime numbers. So this is a tabular result, right? So that's why I am executing this in an immediate block, and I am storing the I am returning the result like this table of result. So what is our result? So which is the list of prime numbers. So I am converting those prime numbers into a tabular format. So let's see how this works. Okay. So this is the only change I did here. Instead of printing the prime numbers or instead of concatenating the prime numbers into a varchar, I am just loading into a temporary table and returning the table. Okay, let's execute the procedure has been created. I am calling this, so I want to load all the prime numbers, or I want to return all the prime numbers in the form of a tabular format, not in a varchar format. So now you can see, so this is earlier it was coming like one string, varchar string. Now you can see this is in the table format. Okay, so hope you understood the examples. The widely and commonly used loops are for loop and while loop. Okay, so I have explained you by using these small examples. Okay, hope you understood. Thank you.